It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
As I was walking down the street one day, a man came up to me and asked me what the time was that was on my watch. Yeah, I said,
what a busy day, a Friday. Toward the end of February. Of course it's supposed to be busy. Tigers hold on last night. Grizz cannot. Now they've lost 8 in a row on the road. And then this morning the news comes out, not shocking, maybe timing-wise. Kermit Davis gone immediately, by the way. Will not be coaching in the game tomorrow against LSU when the Rebels play the Tigers, and that game, of course, could be heard at 7 o'clock right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. So, question, quickly, for all of you and J-Mo.
High hard one.
High hard one. Would you hire Chris Beard? If you're Keith Carter, boy, you'd have 2 high-profile coaches you'd have to deal with. But would you hire Chris Beard to go with Lane Kiffin as your 2 primary coaches? Would you take the chance on Beard, who, by the way, has legally been cleared of all the domestic abuse claims in the state of Texas, in Austin, Texas? However, the picture of the girl with all the bruises is still out there for the world to see, and that one's not going away. Would you take a chance on hiring Chris Beard?
I would hire Chris Beard. Undoubtedly, I think I would. However, I don't think there would be mutual interest involved there. But that's just me.
I think there is mutual interest.
Really?
Yes. I think Chris Beard wants a job. And there could be other schools that would want him. But this school is open, and it is an SEC school, and Chris Beard is out of work. And by the way, I don't think he's getting paid.
He's not.
This is not like Greg Marshall at Wichita State, where it's unbelievable. But through the year 2026, Greg Marshall gets a $48,000 paycheck every 2 weeks for sitting around and doing nothing. Listen to me. $48,000 every 2 weeks through the year 2026. Maybe that's why you never hear his name come up. That dude can coach. He can coach every bit the same way that Chris Beard can, I think. And I think Chris Beard is one of the best coaches in the country. That's how good Marshall is. But, unfortunately, they're both a little alike. They are abusive to players. And I don't know how well that fits in today's NIL world. It was working for Beard. But those are the 2 names that I keep hearing when it comes to what will Ole Miss do. Because I really don't know what Ole Miss will do. I am sure they will consider Beard, because how often do you get a shot at a guy who, let's just say, is one of the top 10 coaches in America? You don't get that many shots when you're a football school and you're sitting in the SEC where you're not considered a basketball power. I mean, let's face it, the winningest coach there is the guy they'll let go, and that's Andy Kennedy.
Another good candidate to bring back, like the Bill Snyder effect at Kansas State. You could leave and then come back. But
you really think that would happen?
I don't think that would happen, but I think that's an excellent candidate for that job too. The thing with Chris Beard, the reason why I'm not sure there would be mutual interest, and I understand wanting to coach, and you make an excellent point, honestly, but at the same time, do you think if you waited for the entire offseason and maybe waited till next year too, do you think Ole Miss would be the best opportunity that he would be able to get coaching-wise? I mean, Ole Miss is a hard place to win basketball games. Even in the era of NIL, it's a tough league. There's no real connection there for Beard necessarily.
Well, that's true. I get that part. I mean, he's a Texas guy.
He is.
Right? I mean, he's from Lubbock, isn't he, originally? I know he went to school there.
He went to school at Texas, I think.
Oh, that's right.
But he coached.
But he's from Lubbock.
Yeah, he's from that area, and he coached junior college basketball in West Texas as well.
He's
so
a
he's
Texas
a lot of ties
guy.
there. That's
he's
right.
a Texas guy. He's a Southwest guy.
Yeah,
A Big 12 guy, you could say.
That's right.
I understand that for sure. He also won at UALR, right?
He did.
My thing with him is I think you can win at Ole Miss now because of NIL money and because you're not in the Tad Smith Coliseum anymore. You look at their facilities, I think their arena is terrific. It's just the right size for that campus. Oxford is a nice place to live now. It's not like you're out in a bean field or anything. It's a retirement community. A lot of people clamor to be there. You got Sardis Lake, you got some hills, you've got great restaurants. As far as I'm concerned, I would think of the SEC towns that Oxford would be not a bad place to live if you're a coach. And I also think you got the Sean Toohey, I think it's Sean and Leanne Toohey practice facility. I mean, that place is beautiful too. They've got everything in place. They just they don't have the history, the legacy, but everything's changed now. There's no more set in stone things because if you got the money to pay NIL and you got nice facilities, why wouldn't a guy go there? You're still playing in the SEC. You're still going to get all the exposure in the world. If you hire the right guy, you can win. There's a lot of people that would think, okay, Memphis is not a great place to coach anymore. I remember Tubby Smith saying, these are not like the old days. Okay. Let me tell you, if Calipari came back to Memphis, he'd win. With Penny's proving, you can win. And this place has some legacy. That's another part of it. But facilities, the right coach, you can win anywhere. I'm convinced of that now, especially with NIL. You got a guy who's a player's kind of a coach that can get you NIL money. You're gonna be in position to win, and I think you can win at Ole Miss for that very reason. I think everything is up for grabs now.
And to your point, Andy Kennedy, even before all this stuff, even though some NIL things were probably going on under the table, Andy Kennedy won SEC tournaments and won the SEC at Ole Miss. So you're right, you can win there.
If you look at it honestly, he used to make sure everybody knew this because it was in the notes. He's the winningest coach in the history of the program. So
bring back Andy Kennedy. That's where I'm going.
But because of what you just said, like, can you get a better job if you're Chris Beard? That people don't think you have a shot at him. I think you do. I think there's so much in place. Pay him enough money, the guy could come. But a true moral dilemma, do you take a chance on a guy? Because if this guy goes crazy and abuses a player or abuses another woman, and I'm not saying he will, you're hoping he learns from this, but if he does, let's face it, that's the end of the athletic director. He's done. And the school gets another black mark. And those are the things I am sure that Keith Carter and the administration will carefully consider if they do take a shot at getting Chris Beard.
Yeah, he gets no strikes of any kind. Not just in this avenue where he's already been in trouble. Literally no strike of any kind.
I'm not sure of the timing on this. Why today?
Yeah, why today? It was today the day they were fed up?
They're playing LSU tomorrow. It's a winnable game. Do they not want him to win? I really don't know. Or they just went to him and they said, look, Kermit, you're not going to be renewed. We're letting you go at the end of the year. And he just said, you know what, guys, if that's the case, I don't have the stomach for this. And maybe that's how it all worked out. I don't know. I just know he's gone immediately. I'm certain his assistant is going to be the interim coach for the remaining games of the regular season. What do they got, 4 left like everybody else, or 3 left?
3 left. LSU, A&M, and Missouri. So probably only one of those you can win anyway.
That's tonight.
Yeah.
Or tomorrow night. And then in the tournament, so however long that lasts.
1 game, probably.
Yeah.
Good for Kermit, too. He's going to go back to a smaller school where he's had immense success, recruit his type of player. I think this is a good step for him as well. Is that
for sure?
I'm just guessing. He's an older guy, too, and I wonder how old Kermit is.
He's younger than me, so don't go there with that, please. I would say he's in his early 60s, maybe.
63.
Yeah. He's got probably another run in him if he wants.
Certainly. And
But
still sharp mind, too.
He's going to be – he's made good money for a lot of years. I'm sure he doesn't need it, honestly. And he's going to get paid off from Ole Miss.
Speaking of the Bill Snyder effect, go back to MTSU, go back have some success in Middle Tennessee.
Now, that could happen.
It could.
Because he was absolutely loved in Murfreesboro. I have no idea what kind of a year are they having.
122 in Ken Palm. They're 17-11. Doesn't look like he's going back to MTSU.
He's not going there.
Belmont, I think, is not having a good year. It's a school up there.
Yeah.
Following Rick Bird's footsteps there.
And they're now a Missouri Valley Conference team. I don't know. I didn't they just extend Kermit last year?
Oh, Belmont is having a good year. They're 20-10. I take that back. I apologize to Belmont. I think they did, or last year or something like that. Yeah, that's right.
I think he's got a lot of years where he's going to get paid. He's going to be like Greg Marshall.
Hey, you go relax,
he's going
Kermit.
to the post office every couple of weeks and living the good life. All right, so let's do the Grizz first. I obviously did not see that game, so you can fill us in, but I've read all about it and watched highlights. So the Grizz had a 17-point lead in the first half.
They did.
They had a 12-point lead in the third quarter. It's been a problem for them closing out games. It's been a problem for them winning on the road. They have lost their last 8 games. Their last win was the middle of January on the road in Indy. That was their last road win. They could go the entire month since they got to play Denver. I think that's the last February road game.
I believe that's correct.
You realize they can go the whole half the month of January and the whole month of February without winning a game on the road. Now, take into account they had a whole week off because of the All-Star break. But, man, there is trouble there. They cannot close out games. Embiid was unreal in the second half. First half, he wasn't so good offensively, but you know what? And I think he said something maybe to ESPN about, well, I felt like Bill Russell because he took all of the other aspects of the game. He had 6 assists. He had 6 blocks. He had 17 defensive rebounds out of his 19.
It's crazy.
So he decided he was going to work his tail off on the defensive side, and it worked out. And then he had a pretty good second half offensively because he ends up by scoring 27 points, 19 rebounds, 6 assists, 6 blocks. Harden, 31 points. He had 7 rebounds and 7 assists. Tobias Harris, that combination with 20, that's a lot of points from that triumvirate.
And Embiid, they said he had a foot injury coming into the game, so he's playing on one foot, and he had the flu the whole week after the All-Star break.
Non-COVID illness, and he played through that.
Anyway.
And he was saying maybe that's why he had such a bad first half, because he missed his first 8 shots or
something? I think
something?
he was 1 of 9, yeah, in the first half.
Just crazy stuff. Then on the other side, you had Triple J with a darn good ball game, 18 points, 9 rebounds, 4 blocks, plus which a block on Embiid that'll be talked about for a long time.
Embiid got him back, though.
Bane had 19 in the first quarter, but ends up with only 25 for the game. So they shut him down after the first quarter. And unfortunately for Ja, he had a bad night. He was 3 of 16. He had 15 points, 5 assists. He did not get his team, especially in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter, he did not get them as engaged as they needed to be. Again, a problem with defense on the perimeter. They gave up 13 threes. They only had 7 and shot them at a 22% rate. And on the road, that's disaster. So now, there are only 2 up on Sacramento for that second seed. They are 6 games behind Denver, who they will play tomorrow night in Denver. And the other aspect is they're 3.5 ahead of the Clippers. That's for the 4th seed, where you get a home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs.
I think this first one is at home, and the one on March 3rd is in Denver. So this next one Saturday is at home against Denver. that's a lot better. But still, I mean, it's same old song and dance like you're talking about with rebounding. How many? It's 19 rebounds for Embiid. They missed Steven Adams, and I think there's a direct correlation, at least in the regular season, whether or not you think offensive rebounding at a high level necessarily translates to the playoffs. There's a direct correlation between their struggles down the stretch of basketball games and Steven Adams' absence. He just gets you so many extra opportunities. John misses a shot, takes a tough shot that he goes after. Steven Adams has been there to get those second opportunities. You get multiple shots. He ensures you make that basket on that last possession.
What is their record without Adams?
Let me see.
I think it's like 2 or 3 and whatever. It's not good.
It's not.
He is definitely missed, not just for the rebounding aspect, but for the screen setting inside on the offensive side of the court. No doubt in my mind about that. We'll talk with Andy Schiffman about that. Just quickly.
3 and 7. No, I'm sorry. 4 and 9.
4 and 9. Okay. Wow.
4 and 8. I'm sorry. 4 and 8. Sorry. A lot of math happening right there in a short period of time. 4 and 8.
4 and 8. That's better than I thought, to be honest. But still, it's 4 games under 500 through 12 games.
I mean,
that's not keeping you at the number 2 seed.
It's not.
They need him back. And it does not look like he will be back on Saturday.
If they can get him back for that March 3rd game against Denver, if you have to play Denver twice with Jokic out there, and that's 2 losses in your conference. That's tough.
It is tough, and I'm telling you, here comes Sacramento. Here comes Phoenix. Sooner or later, KD's coming back.
The Clippers.
And the Clippers, as I just mentioned, are 3.5 games behind, and that's the 4th spot. If you lose that and you lose home court advantage in the first round, all this glory stuff with those winning streaks and everything early, it will go away, that good feeling for sure. Tigers wire-to-wire battle last night. We're going to talk with Brian Dacus a lot more in depth with that. Last segment of the show. Let me just say this. Tigers now have second place for the moment. They are 21-7 and 11-4. According to Joe Lunardi, one more win is all they need. Jerry Palm says they need 2. But Lunardi says only 1. They play Cincinnati on Sunday. Their net now, the Tigers, is down to a 38.
That's right. 1 spot up from yesterday.
I do not understand how this works. I really don't. UCF is the 3rd team in the league with net at 74, I believe. They were at 76. That's what I don't get. So UCF plays USF, right?
At home.
At home. What is USF's net if you've got it up?
138. Ken Palm, let me see what their net is.
I'm going to say their net's 150. Now, it might have gone up because they beat UCF on the road.
152. It went down 1.
Okay. So you go figure this. They're 152. They beat a UCF team that was 76 at home. And UCF's net dropped to 74, which means the Tigers' loss at UCF is now a quad 1 loss. It was a quad 2 loss. It's going to go back and forth. And the way UCF is playing, they're going to end up being a quad 2 loss. But I don't understand how that works. How do you drop 2 spots in the net when you lose to a bad team at home?
Yeah, 2 teams played in this game. South Florida wins, UCF loses. They both go down in net rankings.
It's the craziest thing ever. But the Tigers at 38 now, that is interesting. Okay, in this time slot, we love doing our Pick 6. I picked up another game on JMO.
That's right.
I'm still trailing by, 9?
Chopping away, right?
Chopping away. We're in the Family Leisure Studios. Don't forget the preseason patio and pool sale going on right now. Buy now, save big with the area's largest selection of patio furniture, and they're all beautiful. I mean, go into the place. It looks fantastic. Pool season. It's right around the corner. That's why it's the preseason sale. You buy now, you get ahead of the summer rush. There is special early bird pricing. There's free layaway, and there's special financing available. That is at Family Leisure. Our title sponsor for this hour of the program's Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's in Olive Branch. It's the very first exit off Highway 78, Lamar. You turn at Craft Road, turn left, go see Chris True and all the gang, and I'm going to tell you to go see Vinny Gerard. If you want luxury, there's nothing like the Genesis cars. Right now, there's a deal on a G70. That's the little sports car that's like a rocket ship. I mean, it handles, it accelerates. It is luxurious. It's a cool car. If you want that car and you finance with Genesis, why wouldn't you? They'll give you $1,000. They're paying you to do business with them. $1,000 refund if you do business with Genesis financing on a G70 only at Homer Skelton Hyundai. All right, let's make our picks. All college basketball. These are not the true lines. These are the way Ken Palm will interpret it because the lines haven't come out. Usually, how close is Ken Palm to these things?
Almost exact usually.
Yeah.
There's sometimes a discrepancy, but you could bank on him.
All right, we're going to start with Wichita State at Tulane. Tulane giving away 7 points. I think Tulane's a really good team. I think Wichita State got crushed last night because they, for a little bit, thought they were going to win this game, and the Tigers just wouldn't let them off the hook. They kept battling. I give them a lot of credit. But they're like the Grizzlies. They keep games close. They never seem to win. And in New Orleans now, Tulane is out of second place. They got to win the game. They know that. If they keep winning, Memphis can't beat them for the number 2 seed. They've got the sweep on them. They got the tie break. So I'm going to say Tulane's a winner.
I also am going to say Tulane covers the spread in this game. At home, I just think it's too few points, 7.
All right, so we agree on that. Arkansas at Alabama. Alabama is an 8-point favorite. I think Alabama's going to win this game. My goodness, by the way, the reaction by the national press and I think a lot of fans, the way that Alabama has handled this thing with Brandon Miller and the weapon and no suspension and no discipline and everything else, and really hiding the fact that they knew the kid was involved. It's a real black eye on Alabama. And I think it affected their team. They almost lost the game, probably should have lost the game at South Carolina. I watched a bunch of that game. Arkansas is not going to win the game, but they're not going to lose by 8. They're playing a little better. They've won a couple in a row. Give me Arkansas.
I'm with you. I don't think they lose the game by 8. Like you just said, Arkansas is playing a lot better. They're getting healthy. I think they could even make the tournament, make a run in it. I'm going to say Alabama wins by 5. We'll see if I'm right.
All right. I say A&M's at Mississippi State. That'll be a really good game. I think this was the hardest of all of them to pick. And I'm going with my heart here. Look, State at home, they've been struggling a little bit. A&M's on a run, but it's in Starkville, and it's must win for Mississippi State. Because if they beat A&M, they're back in the conversation about the NCAA tournament. And by the way, they're the ones looking at Memphis' spot too, right? They're all fighting for spots in that, let's just say, 7 to 11 seed range. I think A&M has been playing so well. Pressure's going to be on State at home. I'm going to go with A&M. Obviously, the winner wins this game, right? It's a 1-point deal. I'm going to go with A&M.
Our first one, we differ on.
Right.
State 3-4, their last 4 home games, and those 2 games they've on the road, they've gone 1-1 in. Both gone to overtime. They're playing competitive basketball. Mississippi State is one of the most underrated defensive teams in the country.
Oh,
they are really good on defense. Give me Mississippi State, the Bulldogs in this one.
All right. Texas is at Baylor. Baylor, a 2-point favorite in the game. It's at Baylor. This is a real even game. I'm giving the home court advantage of 3, so I think Baylor will sneak it out.
I also have Baylor in this one. I just don't think Texas can win this one on the road, even though they're a good team.
St. Mary's at Gonzaga. I think St. Mary's is a really good team this year. I don't think Gonzaga is as good as they have been. They still have Timmy, though, and they're at home. You don't lose in the kennel. That's just the way it is, so I'm going with Gonzaga.
I also think Gonzaga wins this game at home, but I actually think Gonzaga can sneakily come away with a national championship this year.
I don't believe that at all. I don't think they have the pieces they had a year ago. I really don't. And finally, the Tigers and Cincinnati, I believe it is going to be Larry Keenan bobblehead day. Look, this is a game Memphis, if they win, they're in, according to Lenardi. They're giving away 6 in this thing. I think they're going to win this thing easily. They did a really good job on Cincy there, and they understand what's at stake. They seem to be getting better even with the Keontae Kennedy loss. I'm taking the Tigers.
Oh, this is scary. All these games the Tigers play are close, though. I definitely think they beat Cincinnati, like you said. I think they do enough, but I'm going to take Cincinnati just with the points here. So we got to differ on more than one, right?
We differ on 2, and those are your picks. This portion of the show brought to you by Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. Let me just say this. Any system that you have, they can fix, and they do it the first time. And right now, they'll take $50 off any heating, cooling, or plumbing system repair that's over $200 because they're confident. They know their trusted technicians will bail you out, and they're ready 7 days a week to fix your problem the right way. 384-3511 or go to conwayservices.com for details, terms, and conditions. And this portion of our show is brought to you by the Spirit Shop. Yeah, it's the weekend. It's time to stock up. You got all these games you want to watch. Weather's going to be lousy. Sit at home on TV. Celebrate your team's winning whatever by going to see my guy Eddie Connor and his family right at the Spirit Shop at the corner of Poplar and St. Nick. 4848 Poplar to be exact. That little log cabin you've passed by a million times as you've come toward downtown from Clark Tower. Go inside, see all the product they have in there, and then talk. If you want to learn about spirits, Eddie Connor and his family, and they've been around since '69, they will educate you. Great prices, great atmosphere inside, great service, and you'll learn about all the products, the rare ones, the middle of the road, the up-and-comers, and the bargains. They got it all at the Spirit Shop at Poplar and St. Nick. We pause for a second, and then to Chicago we go. We talk NBA with our agent from Priority Sports. That would be Andy Schiffman, and he is next.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Looking for a bar with it all? Pimento's Burgers Bar and Grill. Pimento's makes football your fantasy with 17 TVs and $2 draft beers during the game, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you know I love a great happy hour. At Pimento's, $4 house cocktails, Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Yes, $4 house cocktails. Try one of their signature drinks like the JJ Spicy Margarita or the Tennessee Sunset. How about a Memphis Mudslide? Or be a kid again with the Adventure River Rum Punch. Hungry? Try a fan favorite, Bacon Pimento Cheeseburger. Or be like me and try them all. The Mushroom Extravaganza, Sweet Heat, and the Dirty, Mean, and Nasty. Need I say more? Well, yes, because there's so much more than just pimento cheese. Sliders, salads, quesadillas, 10 different appetizers. Just don't forget about dessert. 2 great locations, 6450 Poplar Avenue in East Memphis, and in Collierville, 3751 South Houston Levee Road. A bar with it all, Pimento's Burgers Bar and Grill. So much more than pimento cheese.
It may be cold, but the Gossett Mitsubishi Spring Sales Event will heat you up. Discover a new way to ride in your 2023 Mitsubishi Mirage and get 39 MPG combined for $17,520 or $289 a month and 0 down. And check out 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport for $29 a month, 29 MPG Highway, or get 2.9 for 36 months. Want peace of mind? We Gossett with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. 2023 Mitsubishi Mirage, $289 per month. 2023 Outlander Sport, $429 per month. You won't go wrong ever when you shop Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com. You want it? We Gossett at Gossett Mitsubishi.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Garage PHW 2846, MSRP 18020, Sport PUW 2230, MSRP 29545, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/28/2023. Dealer stock only.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. 5 Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 5 Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5 Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Oh, man, I've been waiting for this one for a while. We get to talk to Andy Schiffman in just a second, our agent in Chicago. I don't think we've really spoken to him since all of the moves are made at the trade deadline. He was at the All-Star joke. We'll talk about that in a second as well. He's brought to you in part by Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. And Ken understands the commitment you're making. You're building your dream home. Maybe you've had some land for a while. You're not sure how to utilize it. He's got about 60 years of experience of making sure you make the most of whatever your lot may look like. Or maybe you're looking for land. He's got it. Maybe you want a renovation. You don't want to leave your lot. You just want modern amenities. He's the perfect guy for renovation with innovation. Go to his website, kengarland.com, and then call him. He's an interesting guy, sees little details, big picture all at once, and he will make sure that you will get what you should expect. Quality construction on time, on budget. 2 generations of Ken Garland's, and they're terrific. All you got to do is call 751-1632. To Chicago.
Oh, do you want to give away those tickets first?
Oh, thank you. Yes. It's time for us to play a little Christmas holiday here right before we get to Andy Schiffman. We got 4 tickets. I want a family to go. 4 tickets. Are they good tickets?
I think so. They're always good
They're
tickets.
usually
we give
really
away.
good. That's true. I think they're lower level. 4 tickets to Sunday, 1 o'clock, Cincinnati game to the 5th caller at 901-360-8255. The 5th caller gets 4 tickets to take their family to see the Tigers get into the NCAA tournament. According to Lenardi, you win that game, you are in. So keep calling. We got them coming. We'll let you know who wins as we talk with Andy Schiffman. In the meantime,
wait. I want to be considered for those tickets, though. How do I?
Are you going to be in town? If
hat?
you're in town, I'll make sure you get tickets.
If I have to be in town for that one, I will.
You were in town for the All-Star game. What can the NBA do to fix it? That is a joke.
No, it's funny. I was having dinner last night with one of my players in town to play the Bulls tonight, and we were talking about it. And he's in the NBA. He participated in that weekend before on multiple occasions, and even he did not watch 1 second of anything, whether it's the dunk contest, 3-point contest, or the actual game itself. Now, I think, look, the 3-point contest, it is what it is. Unless you're going to get Steph Curry out there every single year, I mean, it's neither lacking excitement nor is it super exciting to watch. I had a client in there. Unfortunately, he didn't do all that great, but it was fun to be a part of that. But 3-point contest, okay, you know what you're getting. Dunk contest was phenomenal this year. Mac McClung, everyone's saying that he saved the dunk contest. I understand why. I tend to agree. I think it was great. It was exciting. It was just very fun. In my opinion, the dunk contest, Dave, it fizzled out because you're never getting the elite level top dunkers that fans want to see. And secondly, for me, there's just a lack of creativity. There's only so much you can do and so many times you can do it dunking. And it's all been done before by the greats, by the Vince Carters of the world, by the Kevin Garnett's of the world, Tracy McGrady, et cetera, LeBron back in the day. And so now you had 6'0" Mac McClung go out there and come up with these creative dunks and knocked them all in on his first attempt and first try and just get the fans going. It was a great, great atmosphere. But to your point,
he saved the day. I mean, honestly, he was probably the best moment of the whole weekend. I don't understand how these guys have no pride to try to compete at all. They're using this BS about injury, in my estimation. There's no competition whatsoever. It's awful.
Yeah.
Even the target thing, which worked for a year, where they they knew the target score, they actually tried to win the game. This time, they didn't even care about that. I don't look, the NFL said we can't play the game. We're going to come up with a different way to do it. And they came up with flag football and skills competition, and that kind of worked. But they at least admitted it's not a good thing. The NBA has to refigure the way they do this.
And exactly to your point, I don't know what can be done. I think there's potentially a myriad of alternatives, but is it something that fans will want to tune in to watch? I do think that the players, look, I think they cared. I think at the end, Team Giannis's team beat Team LeBron, and I think at the end you did see a little bit of fight from Team LeBron when they kind of got it to within 10, let's say. But then all they needed was towards the end of the All-Star game.
I didn't see any of that.
Fight is a generous word, but then at the end, I think Team Giannis, they only needed 2 points, and then you had guys like Lillard and whoever else coming down, crossing half court, chucking up
that's all they were
shots.
doing. That's all they did the whole third quarter.
There has to be something. I mean, do you propose a bigger incentive? Do you propose some sort of formula to, I don't know, incentivize the other team to keep the other team under a certain amount of points to try and light some fire defensively? You can't penalize guys voted in that don't want to play. You can't do that. But yeah, there may not be an answer to it. That's the problem. I hear what you're saying, and look, part of me thinks as a representative of players, if I have someone that's very valuable, I wouldn't want to have him go out there and play 25, 30 minutes and risk injury in what is considered by most to be a meaningless game. But the flip side of it is, if the games continue as is, guys aren't getting injured out there. I mean, they're walking up and down the court. There's zero defense being played. But again, how much would that really add to it? If you were able to see Giannis play the full, or be available rather, for the full All-Star game, would that have really added that much to the excitement? I don't think so. I mean, for me, the highlight was watching Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown go at it one-on-one. But you used to have a lot more competition, and just guys cared more. I don't know what's changed. Something should be done, but I don't have the answer to your point.
I'll say this. We'll close with it. The ratings were stinky, horrible.
Yeah.
TV's not going to continue to pay for a product like that. I believe the XFL ratings were about as good as the NBA All-Star Game. That is a total embarrassment, I think, to the league.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the trade deadline moves. Should we just say Phoenix is going to be the champions?
I'm not ready to say that yet, Dave. Again, it's funny. So I was having dinner last night, like I said, one of KD's ex-teammates in Brooklyn. And, it remains to be seen how he's going to, let's say, mesh with Phoenix. And was it the right move? I've heard from different sources that Kevin was not a target by the front office and by Monty Williams, who's the head coach of the Suns. It was more a move driven by the new owner of the Suns. And, look, you have to understand what you're getting in Kevin Durant. There's a huge ego involved. Obviously, he's an elite-level talent, but that could take some time for his new teammates to adjust to playing with him. Obviously, they moved Mikal Bridges, but how is he going to meld now with the Devin Booker, with DeAndre Ayton? I think Chris Paul can play with anyone. So I'm eager to see that. I'm not going to sit there and say, it's not going to work out, but I'm not ready to, let's say, put them ahead of a Boston or a Denver for that matter, potentially Milwaukee. I'm just not ready to do it. I think they definitely help themselves. Durant's a special guy. I mean, he's a different guy, and he's elite level talent, but at times he's not the easiest guy to go out there and play with. And you could say the same thing with Kyrie Irving, obviously. Everyone is excited about that deal where he's going with Dallas, and I think talent-wise, they absolutely improved, and they did really well. I mean, they played well last night together, Luka and Kyrie on the court at the same time. But those guys are both handfuls to play with, and you have to, as a coach, you cannot neglect the other 3 or 4 guys out on the court surrounding the one or two superstars you may have in the starting five, plus the guys on the bench. And there's something to be said for locker room chemistry and cohesion. And that's what you see in Boston, in Milwaukee, and in Denver. And it remains to be seen how that's going to be affected, more so in Dallas than Phoenix. I don't really think that Durant has anything negative with regards to a locker room, but Kyrie can be a handful, and that's no secret, right? And
Right.
Luka is a handful, and that's no secret. Now you're putting both of these guys together. Again, they're going to win games on talent, but how far will they go? I don't know yet.
Well, I think you got to play defense. Who's going to play defense on that team on the perimeter?
Yeah. Who's going to hold them accountable? That's the other thing.
Yeah, I did not like that move. We'll see how it all plays out.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the Phoenix move, obviously. And for the Nets, you know, they have the ingredients now. Bridges, they're going to work, play around him,
Yep.
build around him. And they got enough stockpiled stuff to make something really happen, I think. And it just was
Lots
not
of draft
working.
picks in the future.
It was not working. So let me ask you this. The days of a couple of players really arranging a team, are those gone? Because it has failed in L.A. with LeBron,
Yeah.
and it has failed now in Brooklyn with KD and Kyrie. Both those guys are gone, leaving that franchise like in scrambling mode. So do you think that ownership is going to say, we're not doing this anymore?
Well, I think it's a fair question to raise, but I think it's a case-by-case basis. I don't sit there and jump to the conclusion to say players don't have control anymore and they're not going to, let's say, join forces like you saw with the Lakers and the Heat back in the day with LeBron and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, and obviously what's been going on in Brooklyn. I think it's a case-by-case basis based on who the player is, based on the personality. I think it was a foregone conclusion that it just wasn't probably going to work out from a chemistry standpoint at some point with the Nets, getting the egos and personalities that you have in each of not only really Harden, but more so Ben Simmons and Kyrie and KD. And you have to kind of just know the inner workings of these players and these teams and what everything that surrounds them and their aura, let's say. And everyone just thinks these talented guys are just going to join forces and just start winning games. And there's so much more to it. You have to have a team. Three guys out there cannot do it by themselves. You have to have a cohesive unit. You have to have happy players in the locker room. You have to have players that respect the coach, and you have to have a coach that holds guys accountable. And you did not see any of that in Brooklyn. And I think you see that in the Lakers, but you're talking about, an injured Anthony Davis. You're talking about an older LeBron James, who's obviously still very, very talented and very good. It didn't work out with Russell Westbrook. It remains to be seen how they're going to finish this year. I think they're going to make a little run here in the second half, but I wouldn't sit there and say they're going to emerge as a top 4 or 5 team in the West by any means. I think they could definitely make the playoffs, though. So, again, it depends on the personality. If you've got a Ja Morant, let's say, trying to coax another talented player, another all-star to Memphis, and that player loves the idea of coming to Memphis, and they're going to try and orchestrate that really without the involvement of a front office. Again, if it's a sort of personality similar to Ja, and I mean this in a positive way, where it's not just all about me, like Ja wants this to happen to win, and other guys on the team are going to be happy to play with this new player, and I think it could work out. So, yeah, I mean, you can still see that, but it could be a disaster if you just have these players that are narcissistic and all about themselves and really are not great teammates.
All right, last thing. We only got about a minute, so got to be quick.
Sure.
I'll ask it as a question. The Grizzlies have not won a road game in a month and a half. They've lost their last 8. They are now only 2 games ahead of Sacramento for the 2 spot. They're only 3.5 ahead of the Clippers for the 4 spot, which would mean home court advantage in the first round. Will the Grizzlies keep the 2 spot?
I don't think so.
Will they keep the 4 spot?
I think they'll finish in the top 4, but I don't see them hanging on the 2 spot at the end of the day. Now, the reason being, I don't know. Obviously, you've had Steven Adams out. You've had a slew of injuries. You had Desmond Bain out. And there's a lot of readjusting when guys come back. I'm not saying that's the answer, but maybe that's a factor. So I don't know, but I do not see them holding on to the 2 spot at the end of the season.
He's our man. He's Andy Schiffman in Chicago with Priority Sports. Can't wait to talk to you next Friday. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, Dave.
That's our guy, Andy Schiffman. He's brought to you by Sheldon, the real estate market. Well, that's heating up, according to Sheldon Rosengarten. You know Mark Spensdorf. He claims the interest rates are coming down, the inventory going up. It's going to be a hot spring. He knows. He keeps up. He's got this great strategy. Part of the reason the strategy is so good is that he's flexible with it. He reads things and changes exactly what's got to go on. And then he's going to give you preparation to make sure you'll get the most for your home. It means a big deal. If you prepare right, you'll get the most. And he's got the strategic marketing program designed just for you. Go look at it. Go to memphisrelocate.com and then call Sheldon, 483-0546. He likes to tell you, call 2 to 3 real estate agents. Just make sure he's one of them. Once you do, you'll be locked in, and you'll end up moving your home in the most profitable way. That's 483-0546. Get the job done with Sheldon. We pause for a second. When we come back, Brian Dacus in the house after the Tigers. Our winners last night in Wichita. He's next.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-585-8282. 800-585-8282. That's 800-585-8282.
Both 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte LXS, PE 581,756, MSRP 21,985, Sorrento PG 183,422, MSRP 23,405. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/28/23 with approved credit. Dealer stock only. Warranties are limited. Powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Jeff, my man, what's going on over there at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah? Look, I know you got something up your sleeve to blow me away.
You bet I do, Randy. Gas prices are high, but we've got you covered with 41 MPG Highway in your new 2023 Kia Forte LXS at $278 a month, $27.99 due at signing, and a 7-passenger SUV ready to ride in a 2023 Kia Sorrento LX, $378 a month, $34.99 due at signing. Both 36-month lease.
Plus peace of mind with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. And if I don't see exactly what I want,
I'll order it for you, and you won't pay over MSRP. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Lonely feeling deep inside.
Little guess who, but we don't have to guess. We know who won the tickets. Tyler Billingsley got 4 tickets. Take your family enjoy the game on Sunday. Speaking of the Tigers, the man who has covered them on several websites and talks about them every day from 3 to 6 on Sports Time with Stats and Jay Morgan Harder. That would be Bryant Dacus. He joins us every Friday in this slot to talk a little Memphis. And it's pretty good. You believe, Lenardi? You hope he's right when he says one more win and the Tigers are in?
I think so. I mean, you take care of business, and I thought it was a little interesting they said 2-2 because I think a lot of people thought if you lose any of these next 3 games before Houston that your chances kind of are less than ideal. But, I mean, when you look where he has them, it seems like he has them on the 9 seed line, and so that would mean you're in pretty good shape. I think with what some of the other teams have done behind you, that helps you a lot. So I think one more win, you're pretty safe.
I think so, and I think they're going to take care of business on Sunday against Cincinnati. I really do. Well, what was interesting to me, and I did not mention this when I was giving the summation of this game, which was a big win for the Tigers last night.
Was.
Hard-fought game, really fun game to watch. Again, some officiating with inconsistencies on traveling calls. I don't understand how we can't get that down, honestly. But I will say this, there were 2 officials that were not supposed to referee this game. The last second they were changed. I don't know if it was because there was that crazy cold front that was going through or whatever, but it was a choppy game to say the least. But the better team prevailed in the long run. Part of that was the emergence of Jonathan Lawson, who's going to get more minutes now because Keontae Kennedy is done for the year. If you haven't heard it, he broke his hand in frustration, hitting a wall in Houston after that frustrating loss. So he's gone for the rest of the year, regular season for sure. It's debatable whether he'll come back for any kind of postseason play. But Jonathan Lawson has been involved in the decision of the last 3 games. He made the great play against UCF that set up Demarie Franklin. Last night, he hit the big 3 that really put Wichita State away, and then he had a chance to help the Tigers maybe win that game in Houston and missed a layup. But there he was in position to do it. So 2 out of 3 is pretty good for a kid who's a redshirt freshman whose best days are still ahead of him. His impact, you think, going forward, Bryant?
Well, I think it's got to be big, especially, like you said, with Keontae Kennedy out. Just an unfortunate, could have definitely easily not had happened if he kind of stays cool in that situation. I get it. It's a very emotional sport, but
it's your shooting hand, by the way.
That doesn't help at all. But I think Jonathan Lawson, for him, it seems like it's a lot of confidence. I mean, he's a young kid, and I noticed in some of the road games earlier in conference play, there'd be a lot of times where they'd kick it out to him, he'd be open, and he just wouldn't have his feet set. He'd kind of rush his shot a little bit, and it looks like he's slowing his shot down. He kind of has more confidence. I think what he did in that win against UCF helped a lot with that confidence. Shot last night, that 3 late in the game was huge. He made some other shots that were really big, made some plays. I think he's going to have to be big, especially with Keontae Kennedy out, and I like what I've seen the past couple of games from him. But also Demarie Franklin is also going to have to step up, and he's made some big-time plays in the last couple of games.
Since the UCF game,
the
pressure, it's like a balloon when you let the air out. It just, that's the way it is for him. He's a different guy. He is, first of all, it was the most joy I have seen from a Memphis team in the last 2 or 3 years on the plane on the way home. I hadn't seen them that boisterous, that together. It was fun to watch that. The other aspect relating back to Lawson was KD. Kendrick Davis made the decision to trust Jonathan Lawson. And, of course, he did come through. But that tells you something when the best player on the team is saying, no, he's put in the work. We think he can get the job done.
Oh, absolutely. And you've seen that Jonathan Lawson has knocked down shots this season. He's been one of their better three-point shooters, and so I think that means a lot as a leader from Kendrick Davis to kind of say, hey, this young guy, we're going to put our faith in him to knock down the shot. I believe in you. I think that goes a long way with Jonathan, because we've seen Kendrick has been that vocal leader at times with, I can't remember who said, it might have been you, who was talking about he came out before a game and was yelling at KO, hey, KO, just get us one rebound tonight. That was a couple months ago. So, I think he gives a lot of guys confidence with, the way he carries himself and handles these guys. And so I think that was big, kind of putting him in that situation. But I think kind of behind the scenes, there's a lot of kind of building him up being a young guy.
Dandridge, I thought, gave you a lot last night, too. He's still rusty. I think he needs a confidence booster. I think he got it last night. He moved. He played 12 minutes, and in those 12 minutes, he really did, I think, a good job. He had 7 points, 2 rebounds, and a block with an assist and not a turnover, and he played, and it ends up 12 minutes and 43 seconds. That's more than double he played the first time.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is doubling those minutes because I think his conditioning is something we've seen in the past couple of years. It's kind of been slow when he comes back from these injuries. It takes some time to get back. So I thought 12 minutes last night was huge. He gave you a lot of good minutes, like you said, 7 points. And they're going to need him against Cincinnati. They're going to need him against Houston. So I think just getting that conditioning back is the biggest thing for him.
And you know who's the only guy that started every game this year?
DeAndre, right?
Correct. A guy who barely played half the games last year, always seemed to be hurt. He's the only guy who started every game, played every game, significant minutes every game, over 30 minutes, and now 24 straight double-figure games. 1 rebound shy of a double-double last night. I think he's sort of the unsung hero. We talk about KD, rightfully so, but Williams and he, what a combo.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what DeAndre has done for this team, you really can't put it into words because he's just been such a big factor. Even with Kendrick, the games he's played where he hasn't been 100%, he really hadn't been 100% all season. And DeAndre just continues to be consistent. He continues to step up. And even seeing him kind of mature in terms of not fouling out, not getting those technicals this year it's been huge.
Tigers are now in second place for a minute. Tulane's going to play Wichita State at home next game. Obviously hope Wichita State, which is a better team on the road than they are at home, to be honest with you. It's crazy. Tigers are not going to keep second place, do you think?
I don't think so. It's going to be hard to stay in front of Tulane after they swept you and kind of going down. I think they're going to be the 3 seed.
That means Friday night, second round, late night, 9:30, something
which I
like
hate.
that. Yeah,
But
me too. Me too. Brian, as always, we appreciate it. Thank you. We'll talk to you next Friday.
Thanks, Dave.
That is Brian Dacus. You'll listen to him at 3 o'clock with Brett this afternoon. Our final sponsor for today, it's not the least, I can tell you that, just the last, and that is Matt Eflin and the Eflin Insurance Team. I love talking about Matt and his group because I think they do insurance a little differently than most. They sit down and get to know you and then collaborate with you on what you need. That could be for auto, it could be for your home, it could be life insurance. He gets to know you, your family, what your budget is for protection, and then he secures you. I promise you, he figures it out. You'll be protected. And then if you've got a small to mid-sized business, that's his specialty with commercial insurance. He gets to know your product. He gets to know your employees, gets to know the budget you need, forecasts your business out, and he protects you. All you got to do is call 901-386-GER. That's 4777. That's there because he's a huge Tiger supporter. Get to know him, he gets to know you, and he protects you and your business. It's that simple. 901-386-4777. That's the Eflin Insurance Team. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you Sunday, 1 o'clock at FedEx Forum, then right back here Monday morning.
Both 650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles,